All right. We continue our election day coverage and go live to a swing state where Frank Seravalli joins us. Frank, how's it going?
I'm good. I got my camo on. Felt like I might have needed to wear a helmet to the polling booth today. All good. It was quiet. It was calm. It was exactly what an election should be. So hopefully it remains that way.
100%. We are now on minute 43 of discussing the Ronnie Attard for Ben Gleason trade. Anything to add?
No. I think Ronnie Attard, watching him play a bit, I actually, I think he's a fine call-up option.
Yeah, I had someone text me yesterday and was like, how long until Dermott's on waivers and the Oilers are too tempted by a 6'3" defenseman to bring him up? And
shot.
I mean, hey, maybe he's got or presumably he's got a better shot at coming up at some point than Ben Gleason would have. But right now, the Oilers 2-1 in life without Connor McDavid. Last night's loss, like I just said, it was a scheduled loss to me. You won your first two without McDavid. You looked really good playing the second of back-to-backs against a good New Jersey team. I'm not sitting here and picking apart that loss. We have some people in our chat fully freaking out. I'm saying the Oilers are still fine.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that as well. And I would say that, look, on the whole, if you were, and this isn't how the NHL works, but if you were to take away the final score and you just actually watch the game, the Oilers were perfectly fine. Was it, I mean, statistically, from that perspective, 16 shots for the Devils, is that right? I mean, certainly not sterling numbers from Cal Pickard. But again, second game of back-to-backs, that's going to be part of it, is bringing in Cal Pickard.
Yeah, and I mean, I also sit there, as much as 3 goals on 16 shots is an ugly stat line, and a couple of those shots were savable. He did make a few big saves, and I kind of go, hey, he gave you 3 straight games before this of 2 or 1 goals against, and he gave up 3 in this game. Like, there's a part of me that says you should be able to, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, pop home 4 on a given night, and they had the looks. They missed so many open nets.
That's the thing. I'd be more concerned if they didn't have looks. I'd be more concerned if you were the Nashville Predators last night getting shut out and you had 16 shots on goal and you can't put anything together. Instead, it kind of just felt like one of those games in 82 that, just isn't going to go their way.
Yeah, I rattled off the stats earlier and I kind of bungled them at first, but like you go through the 5-on-5 numbers for the Oilers, they are second in Corsi for. They are second in shots for. You can go as deep down as scoring chances for per 60. They're second, yet they're bottom 5 in actual goals scored. And we had some people in the chat saying, whoa, that's not luck. They have no killer instinct, no confidence, and they can't finish. I'm saying if this is still happening at game 30, I'll have that conversation, but this team has been largely unlucky to this point.
Yeah, I would say that exactly the stat you just referenced is sort of what I was talking about and looking at on Saturday heading into the weekend. Expected goals for versus actual goal differential. I think the Oilers were 30th or 29th in the league. That to me is a way better indicator of luck than PDO. And when you are that far down and that much of a swing outside of the norm, which is kind of like teams 25 through 5 in the league, there's not really a big spread separating them, indicating that they're neither lucky nor unlucky, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
The Oilers have just been well outside of that norm. And that doesn't always count for something. Like you said, when you start getting into late November, early December, and that's still what it looks like, then I'd say that's certainly something to be concerned about. But right now, I don't hold that concern or fear.
The Oilers made that move today, sending down Drake Caggiula. Is that potentially an indication that Connor McDavid could be back sooner than expected?
I do think Connor McDavid is on track to be back sooner rather than later. I know today he did not rule out later this week. I'm just pulling up the calendar to make sure I don't misquote myself. But
he did say yesterday, he said he considers himself day-to-day, didn't rule out Vancouver Saturday.
Yeah. So I would say that would probably be a pretty healthy indicator.
Yeah, that's kind of again.
We knew that
Kajula
it wasn't
told us
going to be 3
earlier
weeks.
was the Oilers called him up for a reason. They wanted to have an extra forward for when they were on the road, and now you sit there and go, okay, we'll just play Derek Ryan Wednesday, and if anyone gets hurt, Connor's back Saturday, or we have a pretty good idea he's back Saturday. We have no extra need for the 13th forward, so let's just start going back to accruing cap space. Is I feel like the logic.
So that's part of it for sure. And then look, Kajula got his audition, right? And they might have said, hey, this is not really a step up from Derek Ryan. What'd you think of his play?
You loved it. I liked it, I think is a good way to sum up. Like, I thought he's just faster and feistier than Derek Ryan is, and cheaper.
That's kind of the whole thing around it, is they want to accrue this money. It's like, well, why not save 100,000 on Kajula and Derek Ryan? And your penalty kill stinks, and Derek Ryan plays in it sometimes.
Yeah, so that was the initial thought process when they brought him up, was this guy is going to take Derek Ryan's spot. And obviously there's math involved, but I think it's probably more based on fit than anything else. Like the $100,000 is not, even over the course of the entire season, is not really significant.
We got a question in the chat from Steve who said, are we making a trade for a top 4D or not? And I have a piece that went up this morning at Oilers Nation just saying like, hey, if you're making a trade now, you're just going to be disappointed when down the line you've burned assets and money on a guy who's not the slam dunk solution. Like the Oilers are going to get one swing at this, and it can't be a single or a double. It's got to be a home run. But are there any teams around the league? Because another part of this, when we had this conversation, I know we do it all the time, but like there just weren't a lot of sellers throughout training camp and early in the year. Are there any teams now that you're kind of watching as, we're not going to call them sellers yet, but they're trending, they're on the watch list?
Yeah, they're on the watch list, but I don't really think they're good partners for the Oilers to trade with. Like, let's say you want to pry one of the pieces loose from the Buffalo Sabres, okay? And there were some rumblings I saw on social media today that the Canucks had inquired about Bowen Byram, but were told that he's not available. The Canucks, just like the Oilers, are not a good fit to trade with the Sabres. You have to give to get, and the Sabres aren't interested in futures. Who from this roster are you going to pluck off and send to Buffalo that's going to improve their team?
We already did it.
Ryan McLeod. Yeah, we did that deal. So yeah, there's no one. The Oilers are only in the business of dealing with true sellers. They can't make a hockey trade.
Correct. And so I don't think now is the time, for multiple reasons. One is that, and two is they want to continue to accrue cap space. You can't throw unless there's a truly special dollar in, dollar out transaction that makes sense. You're setting yourself up for March. You're not setting yourself up to make a deal in early November. That's not the way this cap plan has unfolded.
Yeah, again, it's as much as it, and I said it in my piece, like it makes people roll their eyes around these parts because we heard the word patience for a decade and it never panned out. But like, it's just patience right now, and you need to hope that the bets you made over the summer end up panning out. Like, I mean, Troy Stetcher and Darnell Nurse, I had higher hopes for those two as just being survivable. They're being outscored 4-1, even though the goalies have like a 9-10 save percentage when they're on the ice. Like, they're getting better goaltending than the other pairings, and they're getting caved. Like, there's just players that need to be better. So sitting here and being like, they should have traded for Liljegren. He wasn't, I like him and I see the upside, but that's going to be your move, and you're confident. I can't think of anything other than blowing your load, but you're confident doing that in November? Like,
wrong day for that. What I would say is you could make a move now if you want, if you're comfortable in, and this is the example I used yesterday. Do you want another Travis Dermott, or do you want to hang on until March and have a more sizable, impactful deal and get another Ekholm type addition? You really can only do one, I think. I mean, maybe there's something else out there that I'm missing that's a quick and easy, painless swap, but I don't see it right off the top of my head. And that's not the way they've planned out their cap.
Yeah, 100%. It's again, just got to sit. And if it means this team's going to stay 500 for a little bit, they'll stay 500 for a little bit. But I do think at some point they'll turn. The offense will click. Like, their power play can't be this bad all year. It's due for a run, or it's 40% for 2 weeks.
The Oilers are due for a run where they win 8 in a row. Like, that's really what they're due for. I mean, that's kind of, look, are they going to win 24 out of 27 like they did last year? Probably not. But this team has had massive winning streaks, and Chris Knobloch has a history in his career of teams that go on large and long winning streaks. So it's bound to happen at some point. I will make you a stone cold guarantee bet, and you can pick whatever I pay up, that the Oilers have at least a 5-game winning streak, at least, between now and Christmas.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to say a 5-game winning streak this year, and I was going to jump in and say they'll have one by the time the calendar flips. I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. They'll get there. This was a nice calming down chat. I'm happy you didn't come in and be like, they're screwed. But like they aren't going to win 24 out of 27 in all likelihood, but they're not 2-9-1 right now, so they won't have to win 24 out of 27, right? Like, this start is not nearly as bad as, which is why I'm surprised that there's people freaking out about the goaltending and freaking out about a whole bunch of things. And it's like, this is miles better than what we sat through the first month last year. I got my feet up and I'm chilling.
It's quite literally miles better. Like 2-9-1. I mean, like, it's a totally different story, even though it feels similar. It feels the same. It just, from a math standpoint, it isn't. And the difference is McDavid was healthy the whole time last year.
Yep. Bang on.
I think the positive signs are Draisaitl, all of a sudden 9 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Hyman, he started to score. Nuge is starting to play a little bit better. Like, it's starting to move in that direction where, like, why, like, Draisaitl, he might be challenging for the Rocket this year. Like, that's the kind of start that he's already off to. Like, the panic and hysteria doesn't set in for me.
Totally. All right, there you go. A little calming down with our therapist, Frank Seravalli, the voice of reason for us. Thank you, Frank.
Okay. Well, am I out?
Yeah, you're out. See ya. Have a good day.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.